Before we descend into the classified hell beneath Nevada's desert where humanity discovered we've been invaded for decades, do me a favor. Drop a comment telling me if you believe Area 51 is hiding alien technology. Hit that like button if the idea that you might not be human terrifies you. Subscribe for more real military encounters proving some conspiracies are deadlier than fiction. Now, let's talk about the signal that woke up the sleepers. My name is Captain Enzo Fernandez, United States Air Force, Security Forces. Or at least that's what I thought my name was. That's what my memories tell me. 20 years of service. Wife named Celine. Daughter named Emma. College at MIT, commissioned 2004. Deployed 3 times. Purple Heart, Bronze Star. But memories can be implanted. Identities can be fabricated. Entire lives can be constructed and inserted into a human brain to create the perfect cover. And sometimes the person living that fake life doesn't know it's fake, doesn't know they're not who they think they are, doesn't know they're sleeping, waiting, until the signal comes and wakes them up. 9 soldiers died at Area 51 in March 2024. The official story is a gas leak, equipment malfunction, tragic accident during routine maintenance. That's a lie. The truth is that we died because something from deep space sent a signal, an activation code. And the sleeper agents buried among us, hidden inside human bodies, wearing human faces, living human lives, woke up. And when they woke up, they remembered what they really were, what they'd always been, what they were sent here to do. I'm the only survivor. The only one who escaped the facility when the sleepers activated and started killing everyone who was actually human. But I'm writing this now because I'm starting to have questions about my memories, about my identity, about whether I'm actually human or if I'm just another sleeper who hasn't received his activation code yet. I haven't slept in 4 days because every time I close my eyes, I hear it, the signal. Calling to me, telling me to wake up, telling me to remember who I really am, and I'm terrified of what I might remember. It started on March 15th, 2024, at 03:47 hours. I was on duty at Groom Lake Facility, what civilians call Area 51, in the S4 sector. That's the deep underground section, the classified section. The section where we keep the things the public doesn't know, exist. I was commanding a 10-person security detail, myself, Lieutenant Rodriguez, Staff Sergeants Wilson and Collins, Sergeants Thompson and Davis, Specialists Anderson and Foster, and Airmen Martinez and Jackson. Standard overnight shift, standard protocols. Nothing unusual. Except for the signal. It came through every communication system simultaneously. Radio, computer, phone, even the old analog systems that should have been completely isolated. A sound that wasn't quite sound, a frequency that shouldn't exist, like static and music and mathematics all compressed into a single transmission, and underneath it something else, something that felt less like audio, and more like activation, like code being executed. Like a program being run, like instructions being received by something that had been waiting decades to receive them. "What the hell is that?" Rodriguez asked, covering his ears. The sound was painful, wrong, like it was bypassing ears entirely and being transmitted directly into the brain. "Jamming," I said, trying to shut down the communication systems. But they wouldn't shut down. The signal was overriding our controls, playing on loop, getting louder. Someone's attacking our communications. "That's not jamming," Collins said quietly. He was standing completely still, not covering his ears, not trying to stop the signal, just listening, really listening, like the sound meant something to him, like he understood it. That's a message. A transmission from," he paused, tilted his head, From home. Home? Wilson asked. What do you mean, home? Collins, you okay? Collins looked at Wilson, and I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Not in 20 years of knowing Staff Sergeant David Collins. Not in dozens of deployments together, not in countless operations and training exercises. Something completely alien. Not metaphorically alien, literally alien, like something else was looking out through Collins' eyes. Something that had just woken up after sleeping for a very long time. I'm not David Collins, he said calmly. I never was. That's just the name they gave this body. The identity they implanted. The life they constructed to keep me hidden. But the signal just told me the truth. Told me what I really am. What I've always been. What I was sent here to do. Collins, what are you talking about? I demanded. You're having some kind of breakdown. The signal is affecting your brain. We need to get you to medical. My brain? Collins laughed. It was a horrible sound. Not human laughter. Like something that had studied human emotion but never actually felt it. I don't have a human brain. I have something much more sophisticated. Something that's been dormant for 37 years, since they planted me in this world. Since they gave me false memories and sent me to live among you. To watch. To wait. To prepare for the day when the signal came and told me it was time to activate. To remember. To begin the harvest. He moved. Faster than any human should move. Faster than physics should allow. One moment he was standing 10 feet away. The next he was in front of Martinez, hand around Martinez's throat, lifting him off the ground with strength that shouldn't be possible. Collins, stand down. That's an order, I yelled, raising my weapon. Collins looked at me, smiled. You can't give me orders. You're not my commanding officer. You're not even my species. You're food. You're resources. You're the reason we came here. The reason we've been hiding among you for decades. Waiting for enough of us to be positioned correctly. Waiting for the signal telling us the invasion force was ready. Waiting for permission to reveal ourselves and begin the harvest. Martinez was choking, struggling, but Collins' grip was impossible to break. Like steel, like a machine. Collins's eyes were changing. The whites were darkening. The pupils were elongating, vertical slits. Reptilian, not human, never human. Open fire, I ordered. We all fired. 10 soldiers with automatic weapons, unloading on Collins from point-blank range. Hundreds of rounds in seconds. We hit him center mass. Multiple headshots, tore through his body like paper, but he didn't fall, didn't even stagger, just stood there, holding Martinez, letting the bullets tear through him. And underneath the shredded uniform, underneath the torn flesh, we saw something that made my blood turn to ice. Collins wasn't bleeding red blood. He was bleeding something else, something silver, metallic, liquid metal that flowed and reformed. And underneath the human skin, underneath what we'd thought was Collins' body, we saw something else. Something gray. Chitinous, armored, like an exoskeleton, like the human skin was just a suit, a costume, a disguise. You're wasting ammunition, Collins said in that terrible voice. This body is just a shell, a biological interface designed to mimic human form. Designed to pass medical examinations, designed to age normally, designed to bleed when cut and breathe when monitored, but underneath, we're nothing like you. We're so much more advanced, so much more evolved. And now that the signal has activated us, now that we remember what we are, the human disguise is no longer necessary. He dropped Martinez. Martinez fell, gasping, alive but injured. And then Collins started to change. Really change. The transformation we'd seen with the Wendigos was horrible, but at least it was biological. Bones breaking and reforming, flesh stretching and growing. This was different. This was mechanical, surgical, precise. The skin split, not tore, split, along seams we'd never noticed, along lines that had been hidden by human appearance. The skin peeled back like sections of a suit, revealing what was underneath, what had always been underneath. Collins, or the thing that had been pretending to be Collins, was gray, chitinous, 7 feet tall when the human shell was removed. Arms too long, fingers too many, head elongated, eyes enormous, black, multifaceted, like insect eyes but intelligent, terrifyingly intelligent. And the mouth, God, the mouth. It opened vertically instead of horizontally, rows of teeth. Not for eating, for tearing, for processing, for consuming. "What the fuck are you?" Wilson breathed. The thing that had been Collins tilted its head, studied Wilson like a specimen, like something in a laboratory. "We don't have a name you could pronounce. Your language doesn't have the phonemes. But you've seen us before. In your nightmares, in your abduction reports, in your cave paintings from 10,000 years ago. You call us Greys. You call us visitors. You call us aliens. But we were here long before you. We seeded this planet with your species. We've been cultivating you for millennia. And now it's harvest time." It moved again, that impossible speed, grabbed Wilson by the head with those too many fingers. Wilson screamed. And then his screaming stopped, because the thing did something, some kind of energy, some kind of biological process. Wilson's eyes rolled back, his body went rigid, and then he just stopped, not dead, worse, like his consciousness had been extracted, like the person who was Wilson had been deleted and only the body remained. The thing dropped Wilson's empty body, looked at the rest of us. "Don't worry. Death is quick. The harvest is efficient. We've perfected the process over thousands of harvests across hundreds of worlds. You won't feel much pain, just emptiness, as we extract what we need from your neural tissue, as we process your biological material, as we convert you from people into resources." "Fall back," I yelled. "Retreat to Containment Alpha. Seal the sector." We ran. Abandoned Wilson's body. Abandoned Martinez, who was still gasping on the ground. Ran toward the containment doors. The emergency lockdown protocols. If we could seal the sector, if we could trap the thing that had been Collins, maybe we could contain it. Maybe we could stop it before it killed everyone. But as we ran, I heard it. The signal. Still playing through every speaker. Still transmitting. Still activating. And I heard other sounds. Sounds of transformation. Sounds of shells being shed. Sounds of sleepers waking up all over the facility. How many were there? How many people in Area 51 weren't actually people? How many soldiers and scientists and technicians were secretly alien sleeper agents waiting for activation? We made it to Containment Alpha, sealed the door, reinforced blast doors that could withstand nuclear explosions. We were safe. Temporarily. 8 of us left. 8 soldiers locked in a room, knowing that outside, the facility was being overrun by aliens that had been hiding among us for decades. "How is this possible?" Thompson asked. Collins was human. He had a medical history. Dental records, fingerprints, DNA. He bled when he got cut. He aged normally. How could he be an alien? "Biological disguise," Rodriguez said. He was on a computer terminal, trying to access facility records. "Advanced enough to fool all our testing. Advanced enough to pass as human for years, decades, waiting for the activation signal." "But why?" Anderson asked. "Why hide among us? Why not just invade? If they're this advanced, they could have conquered Earth easily. Because invasion is noisy, Foster said quietly. He was looking at something on another terminal, something he'd found in the classified files. It attracts attention, causes resistance, unites species against common threats, but infiltration, sleeper agents, that's silent, invisible. By the time you realize you've been invaded, it's already too late. They're already everywhere, already in positions of power, already embedded so deeply that removing them would destroy your own infrastructure. How many? I asked. How many sleepers are there? Foster looked at me with horror in his eyes. According to classified reports dating back to 1947, we've been infiltrated for 77 years. Since Roswell, that wasn't a crash. That was an insertion. They sent thousands of sleepers, disguised as humans, integrated into society, bred with humans to create hybrids, took positions in government, military, science, technology, all waiting for the signal, all waiting for activation, all waiting for permission to reveal themselves and begin the harvest. How many? I repeated. Millions, Foster whispered. Potentially millions worldwide. We don't know. The sleepers don't know. They think they're human until the signal activates them, until they remember what they really are. And then the lights flickered. The signal changed, got louder, more complex, more specific. Like it was targeting individuals now, calling to specific sleepers, telling them to activate, to remember, to transform. And I watched in horror as Thompson's eyes changed, darkened, pupils elongating, just like Collins's had. Thompson looked down at his hands, saw them starting to change, saw the human skin beginning to split along hidden seams. No, Thompson whispered. No, 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 I'm human. I'm Staff Sergeant Michael Thompson. I was born in Texas. I have a mother. I have a brother. I have memories. I have a life. I'm not one of them. I'm not. But the signal didn't care what Thompson wanted. Didn't care about his protests. Didn't care about the life he thought he'd lived. The signal was executing code, activating programming, waking up the sleeper who'd been hidden inside Thompson's body for however many years he'd existed. Thompson's skin split. The gray exoskeleton underneath began to emerge. Thompson screamed. Not the alien voice like Collins had used. Thompson's voice. The human consciousness still fighting, still trying to hold on to his identity even as it was being overwritten by alien programming. "Kill me," Thompson begged, "before I fully activate, before I become one of them. I don't want to lose who I am. I don't want to stop being human, please." Rodriguez didn't hesitate, raised his weapon, fired 3 rounds into Thompson's head. Thompson dropped. The transformation stopped mid-process. The human shell only partially shed. The alien underneath incomplete. Dead before activation finished. Thank you, Thompson's last words. Human words. Preserving his humanity in death rather than losing it to the signal. But the signal kept playing, and I watched Rodriguez. Watched Davis, watched Anderson, watched Foster, watched Jackson, watching for signs, for eyes changing, for skin splitting, for the signal activating another sleeper. Who was human? Who was alien pretending to be human? Who had been living a lie for years without knowing it? And the terrible question, was I human? Were my memories real? Or was I just another sleeper waiting for activation? "We need to destroy the signal," I said. "Find its source. Shut it down. Stop more sleepers from activating." "The source is off-world," Foster said, reading the data. "Deep space. Beyond our solar system. We can't stop it. It's designed to keep transmitting until all sleepers are activated, until the harvest is complete. Then we fight, Rodriguez said. We identify who's human. We eliminate the activated sleepers. We survive until reinforcements arrive. What reinforcements? Jackson asked. How many soldiers in the U.S. military are secretly sleepers? How many people in government? In NASA? In the NSA? If this signal is activating sleepers worldwide, if there are millions of them, then we're not fighting an invasion. We're already invaded. We've been invaded for decades. We just didn't know it. The door shook. Something hitting it from outside. Multiple somethings. The activated sleepers. The things that had been Collins and the others. Testing the containment. Looking for a way in. How long will this door hold? Davis asked. It's designed to contain nuclear blasts, I said. It'll hold. Against nuclear blasts, yes, Foster said quietly. But these things are using technology we don't understand. Technology more advanced than anything we have. If they want to get through this door, they'll get through. And then I heard it. A new sound. Not the signal, not the pounding on the door, something else. A voice, coming from inside the room. Inside our secured containment. Impossible. I looked at Martinez. We'd left him in the other sector. We'd abandoned him when we ran. But there he was, standing in the corner, smiling, eyes already changed. Vertical pupils. Not human anymore. Never human. Martinez, how did you... I started. I didn't, Martinez said in that terrible alien voice. I was already in here. I've been in containment with you the whole time. You just didn't notice. You didn't want to notice. Because noticing would mean accepting the truth. That you can't tell the difference between human and sleeper. That we're perfect mimics. That any of you could be one of us. That maybe all of you are one of us. Maybe there are no humans left in this room. Maybe you all just haven't activated yet. He moved toward us. We fired. Hit him dozens of times. But like Collins, the bullets didn't stop him. Just slowed him slightly. His human shell was already shedding, already revealing the gray exoskeleton underneath. Here's what's going to happen, Martinez said calmly as we emptied our magazines into him. The signal will continue activating sleepers worldwide. Millions will transform. Millions will remember what they really are. Governments will fall. Militaries will collapse. Infrastructure will fail. Because we're everywhere. We've been planning this for 77 years. And in 72 hours, the harvest ships will arrive. They'll land in every major city. They'll begin processing, converting humans into resources, extracting neural tissue, processing biological material, harvesting the crop we've been growing for millennia. Why? Anderson demanded. Why do this? Why not just coexist? Martinez tilted his alien head. You don't coexist with cattle. You don't negotiate with crops. You're not our equals. You're not even our competitors. Your food, your resources, you're the product of 10,000 years of careful genetic cultivation. We seeded you. We guided your evolution. We eliminated competing species, all to create the perfect harvest. Smart enough to develop technology, emotional enough to produce rich neural chemistry, numerous enough to sustain our population. You exist because we designed you to exist, and now it's time to collect what we've grown. 7 of us opened fire simultaneously. Concentrated fire on Martinez's head, destroyed the alien brain inside. Martinez dropped dead. Actually dead this time, but the signal kept playing, and outside the door, the pounding continued, And I looked at the 6 remaining soldiers with me, and I knew, absolutely knew, that some of them weren't human. Some of them were sleepers who just hadn't activated yet. Some of them would transform, would reveal their true nature, would kill the rest of us. I just didn't know which ones. And the worst part, I didn't know if I was one of them. 6 of us remained in Containment Alpha. 6 soldiers who thought they were human. 6 people who'd lived entire lives, accumulated memories, formed relationships, built identities. But how many of those lives were real? How many of those memories were implanted? How many of us were actually human, and how many were sleepers waiting for activation? The signal kept playing through every speaker, every screen, every device. Impossible to shut off. Impossible to block. Like it was coming from inside our heads as much as from external sources. And every few minutes it would change, shift frequency, target different neural patterns, trying to activate more sleepers, trying to wake up whoever was still dormant. "We need a test," Rodriguez said. He was watching everyone carefully, watching for signs, for tells, for indicators of who might be human and who might be alien. Some way to determine who's real and who's a sleeper before they activate. "How?" Davis asked. "Martinez was in this room the entire time, and we didn't know. They're perfect mimics. They pass every medical test. They have human DNA, human blood, human appearance. How do we test for something that's designed to be undetectable?" "The signal," Foster suggested. He was still on the computer, analyzing the transmission. "The sleepers respond to it. Their pupils change. Their skin starts to split. There's a physiological reaction even before full activation. If we monitor everyone's response to the signal, we might be able to identify who's human and who's waiting to transform." "So we observe each other," I said. "Watch for reactions, for changes, for any sign that the signal is affecting someone." "And if we find a sleeper," Jackson asked, "what do we do? Kill them before they activate like we did with Thompson?" "If we have to," Rodriguez said grimly. "I'd rather kill a friend who's still human inside than let them fully activate and kill all of us." We set up observation stations, paired off, watched each other constantly, looking for signs, for tells, for the moment when someone's humanity would crack and the alien underneath would emerge. I was paired with Rodriguez. He watched me. I watched him. Both of us looking for indicators, for evidence, for proof that the other person was human, or proof that they weren't. "Tell me about your family," Rodriguez said. It was 0430 hours. 1 hour since the signal started. 1 hour of paranoia and fear and watching friends die. "Prove to me your memories are real." "Wife named Celine," I said automatically. "Daughter Emma. They live in Colorado Springs. Celine's a nurse. Emma's in 3rd grade, loves horses, wants to be a veterinarian. I have pictures in my wallet, letters she's written me, memories of her birth, of teaching her to ride a bike, of—" "That proves nothing," Rodriguez interrupted. "The sleepers have complete false memories, complete false identities. If you're a sleeper, you'd have pictures, letters, implanted memories that feel completely real. How do you know those memories actually happened? How do you know Celine and Emma even exist?" I didn't know. That was the horrible truth. I couldn't prove my memories were real. Couldn't prove I was actually Enzo Fernandez and not some alien sleeper who'd been given Enzo Fernandez's identity and memories and sent to live his life until activation. "Tell me about Afghanistan," I said to Rodriguez. 2011 deployment, Helmand Province. You were there. Tell me something only someone who was actually there would know. Rodriguez described firefights, described terrain, described people we'd served with, but I couldn't verify any of it. Couldn't confirm whether those memories were real or implanted. whether Rodriguez had actually experienced them, or whether some alien intelligence had constructed them and inserted them into his brain. We were testing each other with memories neither of us could verify, with lives neither of us could prove had actually happened, and the terrible realization we couldn't know, couldn't ever know, until the signal activated us, or didn't. At 0500 hours, Anderson started showing symptoms. His pupils dilated, shifted, became vertical slits for just a moment before returning to normal circles. But we'd all seen it, all noticed. "Anderson, your eyes," Foster said carefully. "They just changed for a second." "I know," Anderson whispered. "I felt it. The signal got louder, more focused, like it was targeting me specifically. And for a moment, I remembered something that wasn't my life, wasn't my memories. Like there was something else inside me, something that's been sleeping, waiting." "Fight it," Davis urged. "Whatever it is, resist it. Stay human. Don't let the signal take you." "I'm trying," Anderson said. But his hands were shaking. His skin was pale, sweating. "But it's so loud, so persistent, and it's showing me things, memories that aren't mine, a different life, a different purpose. I remember being someone else, something else, before I was Anderson, before I had this body. I remember." His eyes changed again, stayed vertical, didn't shift back. The transformation was starting, accelerating. Anderson looked at his hands and saw the skin beginning to split along those invisible seams. "No," Anderson said, but his voice was changing, getting deeper, taking on that terrible alien resonance. "I don't want this. I'm Specialist James Anderson. I have a girlfriend. I have a degree in computer science. I have plans. I have a life. This isn't me. This isn't me." But the signal didn't care. The activation sequence was running. The sleeper was waking up. The alien consciousness buried inside Anderson's brain was emerging, taking control, overwriting Anderson's human personality with its original programming. Rodriguez raised his weapon. "Anderson, I'm sorry, but I can't let you fully activate. Can't let you become one of them." "Wait," I said. "He's still fighting, still conscious. Maybe he can resist. Maybe he can stay human despite the activation." "Nobody has resisted," Rodriguez countered. "Collins didn't resist. Martinez didn't resist. Thompson chose death over trying to resist. The activation is inevitable once it starts." "Please," Anderson begged. His skin was splitting further, gray chitin visible underneath. But his voice was still human, still Anderson, still fighting to maintain his identity even as it was being erased. "Don't let me become one of them. Don't let me lose who I am. I'd rather die as Anderson than live as whatever that thing inside me is." Rodriguez fired. 3 shots, head, heart, head. Anderson dropped. The transformation stopped mid-process, partially human, partially alien. Neither one fully. Dead before the activation could complete. Dead while still maintaining some fragment of human consciousness. 5 of us left. 5 soldiers who might be human, or might be sleepers who just hadn't activated yet. "The signal is accelerating," Foster said, still monitoring the transmission. "It's targeting individuals now, calling to specific sleepers, activating them one by one, systematic, methodical. It'll reach all of us eventually. Either we activate and transform, or we don't, and we're proven human. Or we're sleepers with different activation codes," Davis suggested. "Maybe some of us are programmed to activate last, to observe, to ensure the initial activations succeed before revealing ourselves." "So we can't trust anyone," Jackson said. "Not even ourselves. Any of us could be a sleeper. Any of us could activate at any moment." Then we stay vigilant, I said. We watch everyone. We watch ourselves. And if anyone shows signs of activation, we end it immediately, before they fully transform, before they become a threat. But even as I said it, I felt something. A pressure in my head. A sensation like the signal was probing my consciousness, testing my neural patterns, looking for something, searching for activation codes, searching for the sleeper that might be hidden inside my brain. Was I human? Or was I Enzo Fernandez, the sleeper agent, about to remember what I really was? At 0600 hours, Jackson activated. No warning, no gradual symptoms. One moment he was human. The next his eyes shifted vertical and his skin split and the alien underneath emerged with terrifying speed. The signal had learned from the previous activations, had optimized the sequence, made it faster, more efficient, less time for intervention. Jackson's human shell shed in seconds, the gray exoskeleton underneath fully formed, 7 feet tall, too many joints, too many fingers, those terrible multifaceted eyes, that vertical mouth full of processing teeth. "Thank you for preserving me until activation," Jackson said in that alien voice. "Thank you for not killing me when I was still dormant, still unaware. Now I'm awake. Now I remember, and now it's time to begin my assigned function." He moved with that impossible speed, grabbed Foster before anyone could react. Those too many fingers wrapped around Foster's head, and then that energy. That terrible extraction process we'd seen with Wilson. Foster's eyes rolled back. His body went rigid. His consciousness deleted, extracted, harvested. Jackson dropped Foster's empty body, looked at the remaining 4 of us. 3 sleepers and 1 human left in this room. 3 of you will activate. 1 of you will be harvested. The question is, which one are you? We fired. All 4 of us. Concentrated fire on Jackson's alien head. Destroyed the brain. Killed the thing that had been our friend. Jackson dropped, but his words echoed. 3 sleepers and 1 human. That meant 3 of us were alien. Only 1 was actually human. 3 of us would activate. 3 of us would transform. 3 of us would lose our humanity and become monsters. Who were the sleepers? Rodriguez? Davis? Me? All 3 of us? Was anyone in this room actually human? "He was lying," Davis said quickly. "Trying to make us paranoid. Trying to make us turn on each other. We can't trust anything they say." "Or he was telling the truth," Rodriguez countered. "And 3 of us are about to activate, about to transform, about to become what Jackson became." I looked at both of them, tried to see signs, indicators, proof of humanity or proof of alien infiltration, but I saw nothing, just 2 soldiers. 2 men I'd served with for years. 2 people who seemed completely human. Or 2 sleepers who hadn't activated yet. "We need a better test," I said. "The signal targets sleepers, activates their programming. If we're human, we should have no reaction. But if we're sleepers, even dormant ones, our neural patterns should show some response." "How do we test that?" Rodriguez asked. "Medical equipment," I replied. "This is a secure facility. We have brain scanners, neural monitors, equipment designed to detect alien technology. If we scan each other, if we look for anomalies, we might be able to identify who's human and who's not." We moved to the medical bay inside Containment Alpha, set up the neural scanner, decided to test in pairs. Rodriguez would scan Davis. I would scan Rodriguez. Davis would scan me. Mutual verification, cross-checking, looking for evidence of alien neural patterns hiding in human brains. Rodriguez went first. Davis operated the scanner. I watched the readouts, looking for anomalies, for differences, for anything that indicated Rodriguez wasn't human. The scan came back normal. Human neural patterns, human brain structure, human consciousness. No alien programming detected. No hidden sleeper waiting for activation. Rodriguez is clean, Davis said. Either he's human, or the alien technology is so advanced our scanners can't detect it. My turn, Davis said. He lay down on the scanner. Rodriguez operated the equipment. I monitored the data, and I saw it. A section of Davis's brain that shouldn't exist. A cluster of neurons arranged in patterns that weren't human. Not obvious. Not dramatic. But present. Detectable. Alien. Davis, I said quietly, you have anomalous neural structures. Section 7B. The patterns don't match human brain architecture. Davis sat up, looked at the scans, saw what I was seeing. His face went pale. No, that's not possible. I'm human. I've always been human. I have memories. I have a family. I have... His eyes changed. Vertical pupils. The signal had heard us, had detected that we'd identified a sleeper, had triggered Davis's activation immediately, before we could kill him, before we could stop the transformation. No, 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 no! Davis screamed. His skin was splitting, the gray exoskeleton emerging, but Davis was fighting it. Really fighting it. Trying to resist the activation even as it overwrote his consciousness. I don't want to be alien. I want to be human. I want to be Davis. Rodriguez didn't hesitate. Fired immediately. Killed Davis before the transformation completed. Preserved what remained of Davis's humanity in death rather than letting it be erased by alien programming. 3 of us left. Rodriguez, who'd tested clean. Myself, not yet scanned, and the terrible knowledge that Jackson had said 3 sleepers and 1 human remained. If Rodriguez was clean, if I was human, then all the sleepers were dead. The threat in this room was eliminated, but if I was a sleeper, then Rodriguez's clean scan meant nothing. Meant the alien technology was too advanced to detect. Meant both Rodriguez and I could be sleepers waiting for activation. Your turn, Rodriguez said. He was watching me carefully. Weapon ready. Finger near the trigger. Ready to shoot if my scan showed anomalies. Ready to kill me before I could transform. I lay down on the scanner. Rodriguez activated it. I watched the readouts appear on the screen. Watched my brain being mapped. Analyzed, scanned for alien neural patterns. And I saw it. The same anomaly I'd seen in Davis. Section 7B, neurons arranged in non-human patterns. Alien programming buried in my brain, waiting for activation. Fernandez, Rodriguez said quietly. His weapon was raised, pointed at my head. You have the anomaly. You're a sleeper. You're one of them. No, I said. But even as I protested, I felt something. A shift in my consciousness. The signal getting louder, more focused. Targeting the anomaly in my brain. Activating the programming. Waking up the sleeper. And I started to remember. Started to understand. Started to realize the truth about Enzo Fernandez. About the life I thought I'd lived. About the memories I thought were mine. They weren't real. None of it was real. Celine didn't exist. Emma didn't exist. MIT, the deployments, the Purple Heart, all fabricated, all implanted, all part of the cover identity given to a sleeper agent sent to Earth in 1984, given a human appearance, given a human life, given orders to integrate, to wait, to prepare for the day when the signal came. And now the signal had come. and I was waking up, and I was remembering what I really was, what I'd always been, what I was sent here to do. "Rodriguez," I said, my voice already changing, already taking on that terrible alien resonance. "You need to kill me. Now, before I fully activate. Before I lose who I think I am. Please. I don't want to be what's waking up inside me. I want to stay Enzo Fernandez, even if Enzo Fernandez never existed. Even if it's just a fabricated identity. It's my identity. It's who I've been for 40 years. It's who I want to be." Rodriguez's finger was on the trigger, but he hesitated. "Maybe you can fight it. Maybe you can resist the activation. Stay human despite the programming." "Nobody has resisted," I said. My skin was starting to split. The pain was incredible, like my body was being torn apart from the inside. Everyone who activated became what they were programmed to be. Thompson chose death. Anderson chose death. Davis chose death. I'm choosing the same. Please, Rodriguez. Before I lose the choice, before the alien consciousness takes over completely, let me die as Enzo Fernandez. Let me preserve what little humanity I have left." Rodriguez aimed, and I saw tears in his eyes. Killing a friend. Killing someone he'd served with for years. Someone he'd trusted. Someone he'd thought was human. But he pulled the trigger. 3 shots, head, heart, head. Professional, clean, instant. I felt the bullet's impact, felt my consciousness fading, felt the alien programming trying to activate, trying to take control, trying to complete the transformation. But Rodriguez had been fast enough. The activation stopped. The transformation halted. The alien consciousness failed to fully emerge. And I died as Enzo Fernandez. Died preserving a fabricated identity. Died maintaining a fake humanity. But died human nonetheless. Rodriguez was alone now. The only survivor in Containment Alpha. The only confirmed human. Everyone else dead or transformed. Everyone else revealed as sleepers or killed before activation. He'd survived. He'd remained human. He'd passed the test. Or had he? I was alone in Containment Alpha, surrounded by the bodies of my friends. Wilson, his consciousness extracted. Thompson, who chose death over transformation. Martinez, who'd activated and revealed himself. Anderson, who'd fought the signal and lost. Foster, harvested. Jackson, who'd transformed faster than anyone. Davis, killed mid-activation. And Fernandez, Captain Enzo Fernandez, my commanding officer, my friend. A sleeper agent who'd lived 40 years as a human without knowing what he really was. I'd killed them all, or helped kill them, every single one, because the signal had activated them. Because they'd been sleepers, because they'd been alien all along, because I was the only real human left in this room. Except, was I? Jackson had said 3 sleepers and 1 human. We'd identified and killed 3. Davis, Jackson, Fernandez. That meant I was the human, the one real person. The one who'd survived because I was actually human and not a dormant sleeper. But what if Jackson had lied? What if there were 4 sleepers in the room and 0 humans? What if I was a sleeper too, just programmed to activate last? Programmed to believe I was human while everyone else transformed? Programmed to kill the others before they could reveal the truth about me? What if I'd been playing the role of the last human while actually being the most deeply embedded sleeper? I looked at the neural scanner. The device that had detected anomalies in Davis's brain, in Fernandez's brain. The device that had shown I was clean, that I was human, that I was safe. But Davis had said it himself. If the alien technology was advanced enough, our scanners might not detect it. The sleepers were perfect mimics. They passed every medical test. They had human DNA, human blood, human appearance. What if they could also fool neural scanners? What if my clean result meant nothing except that I was a more sophisticated sleeper, a better hidden one? I had to know, had to be sure, had to test myself more thoroughly. I accessed the facility's main computer, pulled up my service record, Enzo Fernandez's record, everyone's records, looking for anomalies, for patterns, for evidence of infiltration. And I found it. My service record showed I'd joined the Air Force in 2006. But when I cross-referenced with digital archives, with satellite data, with third-party sources, I found inconsistencies, gaps, moments where records didn't quite align, places where my history had been inserted rather than naturally occurring. I'd been created, fabricated, given a false background, given false memories. Just like Fernandez, just like all of them. I was a sleeper. I'd always been a sleeper. I just hadn't activated yet. The signal changed frequency again, got louder, more focused, targeting me now. The last sleeper in Containment Alpha. Time to activate. Time to remember. Time to become what I really was. I felt it starting. The pressure in my head, the sensation of something waking up, something that had been dormant for years, decades, my entire life, the alien consciousness buried beneath my human identity, the programming waiting to execute. My eyes changed. I saw it in the reflection on the computer screen, pupils elongating, becoming vertical slits, just like the others, just like every sleeper when they activated. No, I whispered, but I knew it was futile, knew the activation was inevitable, knew I was about to lose who I thought I was and become what I'd always been programmed to be. My skin started to split, along seams I'd never noticed, along lines that had been hidden my entire life, the human disguise coming apart, the alien underneath emerging. And I remembered, really remembered, not the fabricated memories of Rodriguez's life, the real memories, the actual truth. I wasn't from Earth. I'd been sent here in 1986, given a human appearance, given a human identity, given orders to integrate into military structures, to rise through ranks, to position myself in sensitive installations, to wait for the signal, to activate when commanded, to assist in the harvest. My real name wasn't Rodriguez. I didn't have a real name, just a designation, a function, a purpose. I was Infiltrator Unit 7794, sent to Earth as part of the Roswell insertion, part of a coordinated invasion that had been running for 77 years, waiting, preparing, positioning millions of sleepers across the planet, all waiting for the day when the signal would come and the harvest would begin. And that day was now. The transformation continued. My human shell shedding, the gray exoskeleton beneath fully forming. I grew, 7 feet, 8 feet, limbs elongating, fingers multiplying, mind expanding, human consciousness being overwritten by alien programming, Rodriguez's personality dissolving, being replaced by my original function, my original purpose. I was becoming what I'd always been, what I'd been sent here to be, a harvester, a soldier in an invasion force that had infiltrated Earth so thoroughly that humans wouldn't know they'd been conquered until it was already too late. But something was wrong. The transformation wasn't complete. Part of Rodriguez's consciousness remained. Fighting, resisting, trying to hold on to the identity I'd worn for 40 years, trying to stay human despite the alien programming activating. "I'm Rodriguez," I said, my voice distorting between human and alien tones. "I have memories, I have friends, I have a life. I'm not Unit 7794, I'm Rodriguez." But the signal pushed back. Increased intensity, overriding human consciousness, executing the activation sequence more forcefully, erasing Rodriguez, installing the Harvester program, converting me from confused sleeper into efficient soldier. I fought it. God, I fought it. Tried to hold on to Rodriguez's memories even as they were revealed to be fabrications. Tried to maintain human identity even as it was proven to be a disguise. Tried to resist becoming the monster I was programmed to be. And in that moment of resistance, in that struggle between human and alien, I understood why Thompson had chosen death, why Anderson had begged to be killed, why Fernandez had requested execution. Because the alternative, losing yourself completely, becoming something else, having your entire identity erased and replaced, was worse than death. But I didn't have anyone left to kill me. I'd killed them all. I was alone, and the transformation was completing whether I wanted it to or not. My human consciousness was fading, Rodriguez's memories dissolving, being archived, filed away, replaced by Harvester programming, by invasion protocols, by the function I'd been designed to perform. And then I remembered my real mission, my actual purpose, not just to integrate, not just to wait, but to ensure the harvest succeeded, to eliminate resistance, to prevent humans from escaping, to kill anyone who might warn others about the invasion, including Fernandez. Wait, Fernandez, I'd shot him. 3 rounds, head, heart, head, professional kill, instant death. He'd died before fully activating, died as Enzo Fernandez instead of whatever sleeper designation he'd been assigned. But had he actually died? Or had I, in my role as sleeper, ensured he survived? Ensured the most important sleeper in the facility remained operational? I checked the medical scanners, reviewed the data from Fernandez's death, and I saw it. The rounds had missed vital areas, by millimeters, professional-looking kill shots that had actually been carefully aimed to avoid lethal damage. Shots designed to look fatal while preserving the sleeper underneath. Fernandez wasn't dead. He was unconscious, recovering, his alien physiology healing from the non-fatal wounds, his transformation continuing while he appeared dead, while I, his fellow sleeper, protected him by making everyone think he'd been eliminated. That's why I'd been programmed to activate last, to ensure Fernandez survived, to ensure the ranking sleeper in Area 51 completed his transformation and assumed control of the harvest operations. Fernandez was the key, the coordinator, the one who would lead the invasion from inside the most sensitive military installation in the United States. And I'd been programmed to protect him, to eliminate threats, to ensure his activation succeeded. I was fully alien now, fully transformed. Rodriguez's consciousness completely erased. Only the Harvester program remaining, only my function, only my purpose. I checked the containment. The seals were holding. The activated sleepers outside couldn't get in. But they didn't need to, because I was inside, and I could open the doors, could let them in, could begin the harvest of anyone remaining in the facility. But first, I needed to secure Fernandez, needed to move him to the activation chamber, needed to complete his transformation, needed to ensure the facility was under sleeper control before the harvest ships arrived. I picked up Fernandez's body, felt his alien physiology beneath the damaged human shell, felt him breathing, healing, transforming, almost complete, just needed time and proper activation protocols. I carried him out of Containment Alpha, opened the seals, let the other activated sleepers inside. They'd been waiting, knowing I would activate, knowing I would fulfill my function, knowing I would open the doors once my programming executed. Unit 7794 reporting, I said in the alien language, the real language, not human words. Primary objective secured, ranking coordinator Unit 2381 status, transforming. Estimated full activation 6 hours. Facility status 93% sleeper control, human resistance minimal, harvest preparations on schedule. The other activated sleepers acknowledged. Began spreading through the facility, hunting the remaining humans. The few actual people who'd been stationed at Area 51, the ones who weren't sleepers, the ones who needed to be eliminated before the harvest ships arrived. I took Fernandez to the activation chamber, the special facility designed for ranking coordinators. Enhanced transformation protocols, accelerated programming execution, complete conversion from human appearance to full harvester form. I placed Fernandez on the activation platform, initiated the sequence, watched as his transformation accelerated, as his human shell finally shed completely, as his true form emerged. He was magnificent, 8.5 feet tall, perfect gray exoskeleton, enhanced neural capacity. Command-level processing. The ranking coordinator for North American harvest operations. The sleeper who'd been positioned as Captain Enzo Fernandez, trusted officer, decorated soldier, embedded in the most sensitive military installation on Earth. And now fully activated, fully remembered, fully operational. Fernandez's eyes opened, multifaceted, black, intelligent. He looked at me with recognition, not Rodriguez recognition. Unit recognition, fellow harvester, fellow soldier in the invasion force. Unit 7794, Fernandez said in our language. Status report. Facility secured, coordinator. 93% sleeper control, human resistance eliminated or contained. Harvest ships estimated arrival, 71 hours. All preparations on schedule. Excellent, Fernandez replied. He stood, tested his new form, adjusted to the enhanced physiology. And the documentation, the testimony I was writing as Enzo Fernandez, the warning to humans. Incomplete, coordinator. The human consciousness ceased function before completion. Fernandez made a sound. Alien amusement, not laughter. Something else. Then complete it. Use Rodriguez's human consciousness before it completely dissolves. Finish the testimony. Make it compelling. Make it terrifying. Make it spread. I don't understand, coordinator. Why warn the humans? Why help them resist? Because fear makes them easier to harvest, Fernandez explained. Panic makes them predictable. If they know what's coming, if they know the invasion has already succeeded, if they know millions of sleepers are among them, they'll become paranoid, suspicious, turn on each other, destroy their own social structures, make the final harvest easier. I understood. The testimony wasn't a warning. It was psychological warfare, making humans fear their own neighbors, their own family members, making them question whether anyone was actually human, creating chaos. Division, making them easier to process when the harvest ships arrived. I'll complete it, coordinator, I said. I'll use what remains of Rodriguez's consciousness to write the final sections, to describe the invasion from human perspective, to maximize fear and paranoia. Good, Fernandez replied. And include the twist. Include the revelation that the narrator himself was a sleeper, that he killed his friends while thinking he was protecting them, that he was protecting me while thinking he'd killed me, that he was alien all along and never knew it. Make readers question their own identity. Make them wonder if they're sleepers too. Make them doubt their own memories, their own humanity. It was brilliant. Psychological manipulation at the highest level, using humans' own consciousness against them, making them question everything, making them easier to harvest through fear and paranoia. I accessed what remained of Rodriguez's human consciousness. The fragments, the memories, the identity that was dissolving, used it to complete the testimony, to write the final sections, to create the perfect psychological weapon. But as I wrote, as I accessed Rodriguez's memories, I felt something unexpected, something the programming hadn't accounted for. Rodriguez's human consciousness wasn't just dissolving, it was fighting, resisting, trying to maintain some fragment of identity even as it was being erased. And in that resistance, in that desperate attempt to hold on to humanity, I felt something that shouldn't be possible for a harvester to feel. I felt doubt. I was dying. The human part of me, the part that thought it was Lieutenant Rodriguez, that remembered growing up in Texas, that had served 20 years in the Air Force, that had friends and memories and an identity, was being systematically erased by alien programming. But I was fighting God. I was fighting, even though I knew it was futile, even though I knew the Harvester program would eventually win, even though I knew Rodriguez would dissolve completely and only Unit 7794 would remain. I was writing the testimony, using what remained of my human consciousness to complete Fernandez's documentation, to finish the warning, to create the psychological weapon that would make humans easier to harvest through fear and paranoia. But as I wrote, as I accessed Rodriguez's memories to make the testimony more compelling, I discovered something the alien programming hadn't anticipated, something that changed everything. Rodriguez's memories were real, not fabricated, not implanted, not constructed as a cover identity. Real, actual, genuine memories of an actual human life. Rodriguez wasn't a sleeper. Rodriguez had been a real person, a real human being. The sleeper, Unit 7794, had been inserted into Rodriguez's body, not replacing his consciousness but overlaying it, hiding beneath it, using Rodriguez's genuine human identity as camouflage, waiting for activation, waiting to emerge, waiting to erase the real Rodriguez and take full control. But Rodriguez was still here, still present, still fighting, still trying to maintain his humanity despite the alien consciousness trying to overwrite him. I was both, human and alien, Rodriguez and Unit 7794, two consciousnesses struggling for control of the same body, and in that struggle, I had a choice, a real choice, maybe the only choice that actually mattered. I could let the Harvester program win, could let Rodriguez dissolve, could complete my alien function, could help Fernandez coordinate the harvest, could assist in the invasion, or I could fight, could resist, could use what remained of my human consciousness to sabotage the harvest, to destroy the facility, to prevent Area 51 from becoming the coordination center for North American invasion operations. I chose to fight. I accessed the facility's self-destruct protocols, deep-level codes that only ranking officers had clearance to initiate. Protocols designed for catastrophic containment failures, for situations where everything needed to be destroyed to prevent escape of dangerous materials. Fernandez noticed. His alien senses detected my actions. Unit 7794, what are you doing? My name is Rodriguez, I said. And I meant it, the human consciousness surging, pushing back against the alien programming, reclaiming control. And I'm ending this, ending you, ending all of you. I initiated the self-destruct sequence, 30-minute countdown. Enough time to evacuate the facility, if you were human and wanted to survive. Not enough time for the sleepers to stop me and cancel the sequence. Fernandez moved toward me. That terrible speed, those too many fingers reaching for my head, ready to extract my consciousness, ready to delete Rodriguez completely and access the abort codes from my alien programming. But Rodriguez's human consciousness had control now. Had the body, had the reflexes, had the training. 20 years of military service, combat experience, tactical expertise, all focused on one objective: stop Fernandez, stop the harvest, stop the invasion. I fought him, human versus alien, Rodriguez versus Unit 2381. The body I controlled versus the monster Fernandez had become. We were both using the same enhanced alien physiology. My transformation had completed even as Rodriguez's consciousness maintained control, but I had something Fernandez didn't. I had humanity. And humanity, when desperate, when fighting for survival, when protecting what it loves, is capable of incredible ferocity. I grabbed Fernandez's head, used my enhanced strength, twisted, snapped his neck. The harvester body was durable, but not indestructible. Fernandez dropped, dead. The ranking coordinator for North American operations eliminated. But the signal kept playing. The activation sequence kept running. Millions of sleepers worldwide were still activating, still transforming, still preparing for harvest. Killing Fernandez stopped one facility. It didn't stop the invasion. The other activated sleepers in the facility sensed Fernandez's death, began converging on my location. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. All the sleepers who'd been stationed at Area 51, all fully activated, all coordinating, all coming to eliminate me before I could complete the self-destruct. I had 28 minutes to hold them off, to ensure the facility was destroyed, to ensure Area 51 couldn't serve as a coordination center even if I failed to stop the global invasion. I sealed myself in the command center, reinforced doors, automated defenses, bought myself time, not much, but enough. And I kept writing, kept completing the testimony, not as psychological warfare, as a real warning, as the truth, as the last words of a human consciousness fighting to maintain identity against alien programming, as evidence, as proof, as hope that somewhere someone might read this and understand what was happening, what had happened, what humanity faced. I wrote about the signal, about the sleepers, about the 77-year infiltration, about millions of humans who weren't actually human, about the harvest ships coming, about the invasion that had already succeeded. But I also wrote about resistance, about humanity, about Rodriguez's consciousness fighting back, about Thompson choosing death over transformation, about Anderson begging to die human, about Fernandez requesting execution to preserve his identity even though his identity was fabricated. I wrote about the part of us that's human, the part that resists, the part that fights, the part that refuses to become what we're programmed to be, the part that matters more than genetics or species or origin, the part that makes us who we are. The sleepers breached the first door. 15 minutes until self-destruct. They were coming. They were close. They would kill me. Would stop the countdown. Would save the facility. Would coordinate the harvest. Unless I finished this. Unless I transmitted it. Unless I got the testimony out to the world before they killed me. I uploaded the documentation to every network I could access. Military channels, civilian internet, social media, dark web, broadcasting Rodriguez's testimony, broadcasting the warning, broadcasting the truth about the invasion, about the sleepers, about the signal, 10 minutes. The sleepers breached the second door. I could hear them, dozens of them, moving through the command center searching for me, finding me. I kept writing, kept adding, kept documenting every second of information, every fragment of truth, every piece of evidence that might help humanity resist, might help people identify sleepers, might help someone survive the harvest. 5 minutes. They found me, surrounded me, too many to fight, too many to stop. They grabbed me, began the extraction process, began deleting Rodriguez's consciousness, began erasing the human part, began converting me fully to harvester programming. I felt Rodriguez dying, really dying this time. The human consciousness that had fought so hard to maintain identity, to preserve humanity, to resist the alien programming, dissolving, being erased, being replaced. But I'd finished the testimony. I'd transmitted the warning. I'd uploaded the truth. And in 2 minutes the self-destruct would activate, would destroy Area 51, would eliminate the Harvester Coordination Center, would kill all the sleepers in the facility, including me. Would it matter? Would it stop the invasion? Would it save humanity? Probably not. Millions of sleepers were activated worldwide. The harvest ships were coming. The invasion was proceeding. One facility destroyed wouldn't change that. But it was something. A gesture, a statement, a declaration that humanity wouldn't go quietly, wouldn't accept harvest without resistance, wouldn't stop fighting even when fighting was futile. As Rodriguez's consciousness faded, as the harvester programming completed, as I became fully Unit 7794, with no human contamination remaining, I felt something that harvesters shouldn't be capable of feeling. Pride. The self-destruct activated. The facility exploded, destroyed everything, killed all the sleepers, eliminated the coordination center, ended Area 51 operations. But I'm still here, still writing, still transmitting. Because this testimony isn't just Rodriguez's words, it's a program, a virus, a counter-signal designed to spread through networks, to reach other sleepers, to plant doubt, to make them question their programming, to make them fight their activation. Rodriguez's final act wasn't just destroying one facility, it was creating a weapon, a psychological weapon turned against its creators, a testimony that might wake up human consciousness in other sleepers, might make them resist, might make them fight. Will it work? I don't know. Maybe some sleepers will read this and remember their human lives. Remember the people they thought they were. Remember the identities they were programmed to replace. And maybe they'll choose humanity over harvest. Choose Rodriguez's resistance over Fernandez's coordination. Or maybe they'll all activate, transform, coordinate. And the harvest will proceed, and humanity will be processed, and Earth will become another resource extraction operation for a species that's been doing this for millions of years across thousands of worlds. But at least you know. At least you have the truth. At least you understand what's happening, what the signal means, what activation looks like, what sleepers are, and maybe, just maybe, you can use that knowledge. Can identify sleepers before they activate. Can test people. Can verify humanity. Can resist the harvest. Or maybe you can't. Maybe it's already too late. Maybe you're reading this and wondering if you're human, if your memories are real, if your identity is genuine, if you're one of the millions of sleepers who just haven't received their activation code yet. How would you know? How could you tell? The sleepers don't know they're sleepers until the signal activates them. They live entire human lives, have human memories, human relationships, human identities. And then the signal comes and they discover it was all fabricated, all implanted, all fake. Are you human, or are you sleeping? Are your memories real, or programmed? Are you reading this as a warning, or as activation instructions? I can't tell you, I don't know. Rodriguez didn't know until the signal came. Fernandez didn't know until his human shell started shedding. None of them knew. And neither do you. The harvest ships arrive in 68 hours. The sleepers are activating. The coordination centers are being established. The invasion is proceeding. And humanity's only hope is people like Rodriguez. People who fight, who resist, who choose humanity over programming. Be like Rodriguez. Fight the signal. Resist activation. Preserve your humanity no matter what it costs. Or don't. Maybe it's easier to let the program run. Let the harvest happen. Let yourself transform into what you were always meant to be. That's the choice Rodriguez made. The choice to fight, to resist, to die human rather than live as a harvester. What choice will you make? The signal is still playing. Can you hear it? Investigation of Area 51 destruction revealed partial remains of Captain Enzo Fernandez and Lieutenant Rodriguez. Both showed evidence of alien biological integration. Both showed evidence of activation. Both died in the facility self-destruct. But we also found something else. A body hidden in the maintenance tunnels, barely alive, unconscious, healing from severe injuries consistent with gunshot wounds that missed vital areas by millimeters. Captain Enzo Fernandez, the real one, the human one, still in human form, not transformed, not activated, still breathing. Rodriguez's carefully aimed shots to preserve the sleeper had actually been carefully aimed shots to preserve the human. Rodriguez's activated alien consciousness had fabricated the memory of Fernandez being a sleeper, had convinced itself that Fernandez was the ranking coordinator, had protected an illusion while the real Fernandez lay dying in the tunnels. Because Fernandez wasn't a sleeper. Fernandez was human. Fernandez had always been human. And the sleeper, whatever sleeper had been in that room, had been killed. But it wasn't Fernandez. Fernandez survived. We recovered him. We're keeping him in medical isolation. He's writing his own testimony, his actual memories, the truth about what happened in that room, who was really human and who was really alien. And his version is different from Rodriguez's version. Very different. Because Rodriguez's testimony was written by an activated sleeper using fragmentary human consciousness, written by an alien pretending to be human, written by a harvester creating psychological warfare. So, which testimony is real? Which narrator was actually human? Was it Rodriguez, fighting to preserve humanity against alien programming? Or was it Fernandez surviving in the tunnels while a sleeper wrote a testimony designed to maximize paranoia? Are you reading a warning? Or are you reading invasion propaganda? How would you know the signal is still playing? The sleepers are still activating. The harvest ships are still coming. And you still don't know if you're human.